Welcome. Thank you for joining us today on our DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals information session. My name is Adonia Simpson, and I direct the Family Defense Program at Americans for Immigrant Justice. And I am joined with Ori. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, my name is Orieta. I am the legal assistant for the Family Defense Program, and we will be speaking more about DACA.
Fantastic. So we're going to give you some updates on what's going on with DACA. I'm sure you've seen a lot of things in the news, a lot of different reports about what the future of DACA may be. And we're going to talk about if you've never applied for DACA, your eligibility, and if you can apply for the first time. And then finally, address some of your concerns as to whether you should apply. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So for folks that don't know, DACA stands for the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program. And it's an executive order from Obama that went into effect in 2012. And essentially the executive order gave deferred action to a group of individuals that met certain qualifications. And we're going to talk about those qualifications here in a little bit. What DACA does is it pauses any sort of enforcement action by immigration for folks that are eligible and gives people the ability to get a work authorization document. What's great about work authorization is it provides the ability to work lawfully, get a social security card, and in most states, a driver's license. DACA, the future of DACA has been really up in the air. We've seen a lot of litigation. I'm sure you saw that it went to the Supreme Court in regards to the termination, and it was found that although the administration could terminate DACA, that they had to go through certain steps. So what we saw happen a couple weeks ago was an order from a federal court in New York, saying that DACA had to be fully re-implemented. Following the Supreme Court decision, there was some limitations done by DHS that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, including the length of approval on work authorizations, travel on advanced parole, and applying for the first time. But this order out of New York said, hey, immigration, you have to fully implement the program in its 2012 version. So we're going to talk about what that means for you. And then also that you may have heard about a case out of Texas, which was actually challenging whether or not DACA is lawful or not. There's going to be a hearing. We anticipate a hearing on December 22nd. And it's a hearing on a motion for summary judgment. We don't anticipate having a decision right away in regards to this. And there's a lot of different things that could happen. So as it stands right now, DACA is alive. DACA is back in its full form. So why don't we talk about what that means? So, Ori, for folks that already have DACA, we heard about a lot of people only getting a work authorization for a year. What's going on with that?
Yes, so that recently changed. So if you got a work authorization for only 1 year, then by January 8th, 2021, USCIS is required to mail individualized notices to individuals who were wrongly granted 1 year of deferred action and work permits. This document will state that the time period for both has been extended to 2 years. It will also state that the notice and the 1 year work permit are proof of extension. DHS will also publish and distribute guidance that the automatically extended work permits should be treated as 2-year work permits for all purposes for which work permits are accepted. So we recommend people to hold on to the document that they have plus their current work permit together until they receive their updated work permit, which USCIS will send no later than 30 days before the expiration date. And they'll mail it to all of the individuals who received the 1 year work permit.
So it's really important that if you have DACA to make sure that you're updating your address with USCIS, because we want to ensure that you get these really important notices. You can do this online by completing an AR11 on uscis.gov. Ori, speaking about expiration of DACA, how early should people be renewing?
So you should renew your DACA 120 to 150 days before your current work permit expires. If you happen to renew it before that time frame, then there's a chance that your DACA can get denied, or we've also seen cases where people have been there's been longer wait periods for their DACA, and it's been pending for longer than what's normal.
Fantastic. We've also been getting a lot of questions from current DACA holders who want to know about advanced parole, which is a permission from the government to travel abroad, to travel outside of the United States. The form that's completed is the I-131, and now folks, if they have educational, humanitarian, or employment reasons to travel outside the country, you can apply for that document. I do, a caveat to that being is, make sure that you're talking to an attorney before submitting this application or before traveling outside the United States. Just because the advanced parole document is issued to you and you should be able to return, that doesn't mean that there might not be something else in your immigration history that could impact your ability to re-enter the United States. So just make sure you're getting accurate information before you travel. So Ori, why don't you tell us, so we talked about folks that currently have DACA, who's eligible to apply for DACA for the first time?
So in order to apply for DACA, there's certain requirements that you have to meet. So some of these include, you must have entered the United States before your 16th birthday. You have to have continuously resided in the United States since at least June 15th, 2007 through the present. So this means that you cannot have left the United States within a big chunk of time. You have to have continuously resided here. You must have been physically present in the United States on June 15, 2012, and at the time of DACA request. You must have had no lawful status on June 15, 2012. You must have been under 31 years old on June 15, 2012. So this means you must have been born after June 15, 1981. You must be currently in school, graduated from high school, obtained a GED, or honorably discharged from the U.S. Armed Forces or the Coast Guard. You must have no conviction of a felony, no significant misdemeanor or 3 or more misdemeanors, and not a threat to national security or public safety. You also must be at least 15 years old unless you're in removal proceedings or subject to a final order or voluntary departure. If you aren't sure if you meet this requirement or not, or if you have been in removal proceedings before, we highly suggest that you speak to an attorney so they can let you know about your options.
Absolutely, thank you, Ori. And it's really important to note that these requirements are pretty set in stone as to your age at entry and your presence. We get a lot of inquiries from clients who maybe entered when they were 16 or 17, or entered after that June 15th, 2007 date, or potentially were on a tourist visa at the time of the announcement. And unfortunately for folks in those situations, they're not eligible for DACA. But we really urge you to make sure that you're talking to an immigration attorney or a Department of Justice accredited representative to make sure you're eligible and to discuss your options as far as moving forward and the application process. So speaking of that, applying for DACA for the first time is a very personal choice. There's a lot of benefits, but we still have some concerns, and you need to evaluate all the circumstances for you individually and decide whether or not this is something that you want to pursue. So, one of the biggest benefits of applying is the ability to get authorization to work and get a social security number and a driver's license. All these things just open a ton of doors for individuals. However, as we started off, there are some concerns. There is ongoing litigation. As an executive order, the thing that we did learn is that future administrations can take action to terminate the program. And ultimately, DACA does not provide a direct pathway to any sort of permanency. We do have, CIS has said that they don't affirmatively share their information with ICE, with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. However, we do know that ICE does have access to these databases where applicants' information is housed. So that is another consideration. I think folks need to speak individually with an attorney and look at all of their pros and cons and decide if this is the best avenue. So, Ori, after somebody has looked through their circumstances, what should they do next? What are the next steps?
So if you think that you do qualify for DACA, we recommend that you speak to an attorney. The attorney will be able to confirm that you do in fact qualify for DACA, and they can also screen you for other relief. You might be eligible for more permanent relief that you might not even know about. So if you do qualify, you should start gathering all of your evidence. You need to gather evidence from 2007, 2012, and it's a lot of documents. So speaking to an attorney and somebody who is qualified, they'll be able to help you determine what documents you're missing or what documents, if you've already gathered everything. We are also going to be having information sessions where people can come in and you'll be able to speak to an attorney and they'll be able to help you out with your application. So in order to apply for DACA, you have to pay the filing fee, which is $495. However, if you think that you don't have the funds right now to pay for the application, then you can ask for assistance from United We Dream, and they might be able to help you out with that. So if you need assistance or if you want to speak to an attorney, you can reach our office at 305-573-1106, extension 1400, and we will help you out with an intake.
Excellent. Thanks, Ori. So again, review the eligibility requirements, talk to an attorney, and stay tuned. We're going to be doing some more information sessions running through the evidence and the application process and what's involved. So thank you again for joining and have a great day.